Hey nerds, Corgi Butts here. Welcome back to the letter. On the last episode, Hannah seems to be getting more haunted by the spirit that's coming after them. So let's see if the spirit continues to haunt her, what she'll do next. October 28th, Friday. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to the voicemail. Let me get rid of these real quick. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today of all days is every bit upsetting because of what to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am more refreshed as well. Well, I took a big break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A ground housewarming party for the wonderful Wright Mansion. Every person of importance from Luxbourne is invited, and there will be few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with our friends and acquaintances who have made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discussed the business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much damage from our original plan. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a children's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have rooms to spend the night, or guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let somebody stay, the bedroom is in the opposite wing, is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to have I know I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Oh, around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious right now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whine about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry to a simple taboo among high society. To do so will make a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle, but put your trust into the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes, but Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being too rash, a bit hot-headed. in divulging details. But I thought to myself clearly, with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Mary Ann raised brow make me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does not make things better if she has no interest, and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband.
Aw, she's talking about herself.
But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
What do I think of the matter, ma'am?
No, what do you think of my hair? It feels so lifeless and dull today, and that's no good for a party. And I think I'm breaking out into zits.
Now that you mention it, there is something different.
There better not be something on my face.
I wouldn't worry about that. You do look a little paler than usual, ma'am. I apologize if I'm crossing any lines here, but have you been resting properly?
Huh. You'd think I get a bit tanned with how sunny it's been lately. Don't you worry. I feel right as rain and never better. But back to the matter at hand.
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Yeah, be honest.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Ha! Dang!
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into the cup of my own. The silence stretches on and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like that. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit she simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital problems? Surely we aren't the obvious, are we? We've put the act of a perfect couple on for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than an average person, of course. It is a necessity in her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm, despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be a calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot of grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been an entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread that the thought of these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. When did he start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? When did we start to cooperate only to suit our materialistic greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success, fame and glamour. Are those the only reasons we still stay together? There's a cough from Marianne, clears her voice. I must have been quiet for so long, and I apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you.
Some shit is gonna go down at this party.
You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
The scene outside the parlor is great. Organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of a temp agency which provides staff for the right enterprise in the hospitable sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboy, hostesses, and their staff captains move above in droves, carrying crockets and silverware, good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johans, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To peruse the stocks to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
I string quartet readies up to play for the evening, turning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floor decor where thousands fill vase, wreaths and blankets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in careful by a pair. That cake! Oh my god, it looks so good! It is followed with a simple cake. That is not simple! Just a 5-tier white chiffon. One with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and light dusting of edible golden leaves! Oh, that's so good! But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, which only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust enter my home. I did not want a bloody politician and paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke right. And I can't help but add another question in my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? This is really sad, actually. It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lewd for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I started from the bottom, so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaisons, and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I genuinely had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated more than my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to the others. I looked for praise from anyone who would give it. However, fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me, and took genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. And the man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we would talk about everything and anything. What the hell happened to him? From big things to like business, society, philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast and whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that my husband preferred wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in any aspect except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I had no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I could fall further into the introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
My heart is like sinking for her.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand trousers, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car to convertible, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year in Luxbourne. So far. Who knows what we'll have planned for the winter holidays.
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm if not strange sunshine that was experiencing before gloomy skies' inevitable return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, other less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals, whether through convenience or necessities. However, there are also a few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with the oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike. Oh man, what's he doing here?
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Or that rose-haired woman talking on the phone while she looked unsure of why she is here exactly. What is going on?
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
And then there are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand there on the board between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna.
Husband still missing, I see?
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I tried to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have a short conversation or merely shake hands and a nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes us, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn into the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old dance, no matter how big or small it is. Make sure your guests are all fed well and have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with small groups and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more than to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Then there's this rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive look. She also lacks the grace that other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the airs she excludes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach intrigued, although it is not great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glance she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? Because that would explain those rejections.
This is super cute. In all my life, I have never seen a face grow so red so fast. She looks so much better in that picture. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
However, as I feel the burning of someone's stare. Uh-oh. It's chilling. And though I am used to enduring gazes of others, this one makes my hair on the back of my neck stand up. Whoa. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Darkered hair and dirty. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half a mind to call security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm not notching but a pig in a slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then I blink and she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but... Are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless, because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know?
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as a child? As children. Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept it somewhat I said in my mind. I feel ridiculous remembering all these years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things, with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept what I said. Perhaps I did say something good at the time, even for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment, as I mull over what she just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There's no time to ponder over. However, as hush descends upon once lively crowd, the music is string and the chatter slowly to a grinding halt as the door from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather one man. There's only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late. Oh, this is gonna be embarrassing.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
He was with Marianne. Unlike I who raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence. He sought it out every chance he could, even when there's no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if that's all he's doing is to say simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I'll always tell him that if he's not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share this place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approaches left and right and shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praise on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with flurry in her eyes and she's already spitting venom. Johanna restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Oh, it's the pregnant woman? But that is not little to deteriorate her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. Whoa! What is happening? How much has she embedded in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
What is happening?
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is my heart at the moment. Oh, is the heat. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath. She's pregnant! What is happening? I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. While I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she's endangered her own baby by drinking. There's considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indescribable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle.
What the heck?
Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I am just about to ask the exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
She's pregnant with his kid.
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk! That's all it is! Just completely and utterly mad!
It's his fucking kid.
Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant
No!
with your little bastard! You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me! I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours.
Oh my gosh!
Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
It is now that Johans returns with security along with a concerning look of Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by the pale face, he had heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never. Oh, you stupid bitch! God! He'll never go as far as to sleep with another woman, right?
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but rambling of drunk? Of course there's nothing but rambling of a drunk. She's just jealous. Jealous of this wonderful marriage, this happily ever after that I have with my prince.
Take that troll up out of here immediately! And see to it that she isn't allowed here or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxbourne.
To be banned from anything with the right name on it is basically social suicide. We practically own half of Luxbourne, and there isn't a single established of Retribute that isn't under a patronage one way or another. This is mercy. I can do much worse to her. At least this way she can just move out of the city, never ever to return. I stayed with my hand on my face of her grievous fault. Her bold-faced lies when she deserves so much more. No, they're not lies! I fucking... Ugh. I can take away her business, but have her factories shut down. Is it too easy to ruin her life until she is just nothing? And it is also tempting. I can only see red. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is nearly deafening. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, yet at the same time, I can still hear them whispering. But as long as they hold their tongues and don't interfere, none of those matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It's almost seen as if he's proud of what I have done, and that spurs me on one more than anything.
Everyone, please go back to enjoying the party. Don't let that mess of a woman ruin your night.
You heard her! Strike up the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
Takes a bit more of the crowd to stir again, in the face of all that. But like most problems of the elite, it is brushed under the rug and forgotten in the favor of the merriment. He offers his hand to me with a small smirk and a bow.
Well, that was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
Milady, would you like to dance?
With pleasure, my prince.
No one is going to get in between me and my darling husband. Not Rochelle or any other rich newbie scrubber. Not some common whore or ambitious maid. No one is going to get near him in that manner. Not while I'm around. And if I have anything to say about it, no one is going to get near him at all. Jeez Louise! Well, that was a fucking party! I'm gonna end it here. I hope you guys are enjoying. I'm really curious to see where this is gonna go, though. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!